Hi, I'm here with Gaspari TV and with Team Y3T. I'm here with Flex Lewis, HIdetada Yamagishi, here with, what is your name? Kenneth Jackson and Sean Barbara. Now, some of these athletes are just some of the athletes that I work with under the actual Y3T principles. You know, this is something which I developed about 18 years ago. Now, for me, very fortunately, I met Flex when he was 19 years of age, and we've been working together, you know, as many of you know, for many, many years. I mean, Flex, what have you find personally that you've actually got out of Y3T on a, you know, on a personal level, so people can actually sort of understand what you've, what you've achieved in your experiences?
Well, coming from a powerlifter's background and rugby and everything else, I had a lot of injuries prior to going into bodybuilding. When I met Neil earlier on in my career, we devised a program around my injuries, and after this point in time now, I've never had one bodybuilding injury. Cardiovascularly, going into a show, I do very little cardio, as you know, as Neil knows, just because the high intensity and the constant changing up of the training throughout the year. Off-season and pre-contest allows me to stay in shape for guest posings, as I do no cardio in the off-season, and I go in it all the way up to the show as well. Again, it's just because the constant training has allowed me to break through plateaus, and again, it's been devised around there's no cookie cutter Y3T training program. It's devised around my body, so that's the beauty about Y3T.
I mean, for me, you know, it's sometimes Flex was a little bit of an experimenting tool, even though I developed many years before that. But the beauty about it, obviously, as we found ourselves, is that every year we've changed something. You know, we changed the program to suit your body, and obviously, you know, especially last year, we saw some big drastic changes in your physique. You know, and the nutritional program and everything else we were doing stayed the same. You know, what changed really simply was the Y3T program, and obviously that definitely made, you know, huge enhancements in your overall, you know, overall shape. You know, I'm sure you'd agree.
Definitely agree, and just like Neil said, the training, the nutrition, everything changes in accordance to itself. So we focus in on key areas, and everybody knows, as being a Mr. Olympia competitor, shows the one from the back. So primarily when we had my off-season, the first off-season since I was 19, a break, we focused on certain areas such as my back, and it gave us a more three-dimensional look when I stepped on stage for the first time having that break at the British Grand Prix.
I mean, on a personal level, I'm very, very proud of all my athletes. You know, I started working with Hide about 2 years ago, and you know, he's one of the most hard-working pros that I've ever worked with. You know, it's a great honor for me personally to be working with yourself. I mean, what have you found from your experiences with working with myself and the Y3T as a whole, Hide?
Well, I working with you, Neil, since end of 2009. Yeah. Since then, my condition is always, you know, spot on. And before that, I was like on and off. So, you know, your dieting, your training is actually, you know, the result shows. And last year, I had some, you know, the injury, but still, you know, made the condition, which means, you know, give me a best result all the time. Even I was in injury.
Yeah. I mean, and that injury was during a photo shoot, I believe, if I remember rightly. But obviously, you know, it certainly didn't hold you back because you went on to win pro shows. You know, and definitely what I feel personally, presenting your best ever look and your best ever package, you know, last year. And I'm excited about, you know, where you're going this year, and obviously as well as yourself. I mean, if I move over here now to Kenneth Jackson, Kenneth and myself have probably been working for about 18 months. Kenneth contacted me through email like many people do. I mean, Ken, you know, how would you feel about the system and what it's done for you as a whole?
Well, I graduated from University of Michigan playing football, so when I started working with Neil at the Y3T actually changed me from looking like a football player to looking like a bodybuilder. Round muscle bellies, a lot of thickness in certain areas like my back, my shoulders, my chest. My chest was a really weak point. I had no chest whatsoever. I was basically all shoulders. And when I met Neil, when I did started the Y3T, my chest was brought up. And I know I've only been doing it for 18 months, so I have even bigger future plans for my chest because that's a weak point for me.
I mean, since working together as well, we've not sustained any injuries. And obviously something that we touched note on the past, speaking that you were picking up injury from time to time. I mean, tell us a little bit about that, you know, yourself.
Yeah, I had nagging hamstring injuries. I pulled both my hamstrings in college, and ever since starting Y3T, no injuries, no pain. I'm pain-free, and I think it's because the way the system works. You have week 1, week 2, week 3. basically you have your short rep ranges where you're going heavy, then you have your moderate, and then you have all your supersets. Your body, it basically gives your body rest from week to week to week, and we really had no break. I've been doing this for 18 straight months and been injury-free for 18 straight months.
I mean, I certainly saw huge changes in your physique. Obviously, when we got together, obviously I designed a training program, a nutritional program, a supplement program. But certainly when you obviously went to our last show where you turned pro, I certainly feel that, the Y3T definitely had a huge, benefit and the ability for allowing you to take that pro card. Ken, I'm sure you agree with that.
Yes, and I've talked to the fans being here this weekend. I've talked to some fellow pros that I'm really good friends with, and they basically told me that they've never seen that Ken Jackson before that stepped on that North America stage. I was full, I was round, and I was actually in the best condition I've ever been ever since I started bodybuilding. So I can attribute that definitely to the Y3T.
I mean, I'd finally like to move on to Sean Barbara. This is Flex Lewis's trainer back in Nashville, or I should say Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I mean, Sean, you and Flex really bust ass in the gym, you you guys train really intense, and I know I got to hold you back, quite often, and we got together working with each other, I think, probably about 3 years ago. I mean, personally from your experiences, because obviously you train together, but sometimes I'll get you to do one exercise while Flex is performing another exercise, because obviously I'm designing my program around yourself as well. From you, how do you feel?
I feel great. Y3T was one of the best changes in my training. When I first started, obviously I was training heavy before. I was training with Neil. How much weight can I pull? Neil came in, slowed it down, said squeeze the movement, don't come in yanking the weight. I've had no injuries, sustained nothing since I've started, not even so much as a pull or a strain, which it doesn't hinder you from being able to go in and miss days. You miss days, it just puts you back. It's like completely not training or not giving 100% of your training. So I love Y3T. It's the best thing that I've ever seen.
I remember Flex talking about you, saying, this kid, he's got a great physique, I see, good prospect in him. And I saw that in photos as well. What I didn't see is where I felt personally with what you were doing, you wasn't actually going to get to where you potentially could have got to. Now, since we worked together, you've really captured some huge titles, Sean. You're from being a really good amateur, to being, at the top end of the national level. What do you put that down to?
I put it down to Y3T, Neil, Flex, my entire team is phenomenal. The knowledge of this team is endless. We learn new things. Neil learns my body every year, every month, trying something new, and he designs it specifically for me. Not every athlete's the same. Every athlete is different to Y3T, and I think that's something that separates Y3T from every other training program. And me and Flex, we have the same goal. We push each other, but we do different exercises. We don't do the same thing. I respond better to some exercises and training programs than Flex does. And, I think that really separates and makes Y3T special.
I mean, for me, I just want to wrap this up to say that, this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Flex and myself, we're filming the very, very first Y3T video shoot for bodybuilding.com and Gaspari TV. Now, this will actually give you a real in-depth, real live workouts to what Y3T is all about. And also, you're going to learn so much from this video series, which is going to be coming out in April, I believe. Make sure that you actually watch every single video series before you perform, going into it, because you're going to get the most out of there. Anyway, as I said, make sure you hook in April to bodybuilding.com and Gaspari. This is going to be a f***ing booming year.